The billionaire's hand hovered over the polished mahogany door handle, unaware that on the other side waited more than just a boardroom full of investors. His schedule was airtight, every minute accounted for, yet something about today felt different. His instincts, honed through years of cutthroat business, told him to stay alert. Still, he pushed the thought aside, but then a small hand brushed against his sleeve. He looked down to find Anna, the maid's teenage daughter, standing in the hallway. Her wide brown eyes flickered with urgency. In silence, she slipped a folded note into his palm before darting back toward the service corridor. He unfolded it discreetly. The words, scrawled in hurried ink, chilled him. "Don't panic. It's a trap." For a man used to controlling billion-dollar deals, his heartbeat had never raced faster. He froze, scanning the door. The chatter inside, muffled but tense, didn't sound like casual conversation. He suddenly noticed two unfamiliar shadows pacing beneath the crack of the door. His instinct screamed, and Anna's note confirmed it. Something was terribly wrong. Instead of entering, he slipped away down the private stairwell, alerting security on his phone. Within minutes, police stormed the conference room, arresting two armed men disguised as caterers. Their plan? Kidnap the billionaire and force him into transferring millions offshore. The billionaire sat in stunned silence later that night, still replaying how close he had come to walking into danger. How had Anna known? He found her in the kitchen, nervously wringing her apron. I overheard them," she confessed. "They didn't see me, but I heard them talking about you. I didn't know who else to tell. You've always been kind to my mom, and I couldn't let anything happen to you." Her voice cracked, and he realized she had risked everything, her safety, her peace of mind, for him. A man who was practically a stranger outside of polite greetings. In that moment, something shifted inside him. All his wealth, his power, his status, none of it mattered compared to this girl's simple act of courage. He knelt down to meet her eyes. "Anna, today, you saved my life, and I won't forget it." True to his word, he didn't. The next week, he arranged for Anna's education to be fully sponsored, giving her opportunities her family could never have dreamed of. Years later, when Anna stood on a stage, accepting her scholarship to one of the top universities, she spotted him in the crowd, clapping the loudest, pride shining in his eyes. What began as a hurried note scribbled in fear had turned into something extraordinary, a lifelong bond built on trust, kindness, and the courage of one young girl who refused to stay silent. And as the billionaire would often say in interviews years later, "It wasn't money that saved me that day. It was a child's heart brave enough to care." The air in the kitchen was still. The billionaire's words hung between them, and Anna blinked as though she wasn't sure she had heard him right. She had never imagined that the man whose name filled financial magazines, whose cars gleamed in the driveway, would be looking at her with such gratitude. "I didn't think it through," she whispered, twisting her hands together. I couldn't let them hurt you. My mom says kindness is never wasted, even if it's small. Maybe this was mine." He felt his throat tighten. He had built empires on strategy and cold calculations, but here was a girl reminding him of something he had long forgotten, that humanity mattered more than profit margins. That night, as the mansion quieted, he couldn't sleep. He replayed the moment she slipped him the note, the bravery it took for someone so young to intervene. Without her, he would have walked into danger unknowing. It gnawed at him, the thought of how close he had come to losing everything. In the morning, he spoke with her mother, who broke into tears when he explained what her daughter had done. "She's always been that way," the maid said softly, "always looking out for others, even when it costs her. I tell her she's got too big a heart for this world." "No," he replied firmly. "Her heart is exactly what this world needs." Days passed, but his resolve grew stronger. He knew he couldn't repay such an act with just words. Money was easy. He had plenty of it. But what Anna needed wasn't a gift. It was a future. So he arranged private tutoring, then later scholarships, quietly ensuring that every door she might want to open would be within her reach. Anna resisted at first, embarrassed by the attention. But he reminded her, "You gave me the chance to keep living my life. All I'm doing is giving you the chance to live yours fully." Years rolled forward like pages in a book. Anna's life blossomed. She studied with determination, driven not only by her own dreams, but by the knowledge that someone believed in her. Each milestone she reached felt like a shared victory. When the day came for her university acceptance, she clutched the letter with trembling hands. She ran to show her mother first, and then the man who had once been just her employer. He read the letter, then looked at her with pride swelling in his chest. "Anna," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "you've given me more than I could ever give you. You gave me back my life that day, and now you're showing me what it means to truly live." And when she walked across the stage to accept her scholarship, the applause that filled the hall was thunderous. She glanced out into the audience and saw him, standing, clapping, smiling in a way that reached his eyes. For him, it wasn't just about gratitude anymore. It was about hope. It was about remembering that no matter how dangerous or divided the world could seem, kindness had the power to change everything. He thought often of the note she had given him. 4 words, hastily scribbled by a trembling hand: "Don't panic. It's a trap." Those words had saved his life, but the love and courage behind them had saved his soul. And long after the ink on that paper had faded, the memory of Anna's courage lived on. Proof that even the smallest voice could protect, uplift, and inspire, because sometimes the greatest heroes aren't the ones with power or wealth. Sometimes they're just children brave enough to care.